Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Munga. And it's it's ended. Manchester City 4 and Bournemouth 1, or I should say Bournemouth 1 and Manchester City 4. It's been smooth sailing, I would say, for Manchester City for since, of course, like not smooth sailing after the midweek Leipzig draw. Uh, Everybody was feeling they might slip up because of the games that they have and the quantity of games that they've been playing. But it seems that it does not affect a lot of players, but it does affect some players. Kevin De Bruyne was a surprise on the bench again. He didn't even make a minute. No subs for him as well. That was a surprise in my mind because he didn't play the midweek game due to illness, and he was on the bench and didn't come on. And then there were some new fresh faces on substitutes made by Pep Guardiola, like as always he does. But then it kind of it was I would say it was a boring match. Like that's how I felt. Like Manchester City was already up 3-0 by first half. Erling Haaland breaks the record of most goals. Yeah, the club legend Aguero from the 27 goals that he scored now, which and the record being 26 from Sergio Aguero, and he's already beaten that. So Haaland scores, surprise. Foden scored on his 200th appearance for City. And yeah, it was pretty flat out. Like Bournemouth playing 5 at the back. That was no surprise, and Pep Guardiola knew the fact that it was not a surprise. That's how teams with the bottom on fighting for relegation will play against City, because they want to press. They don't want to kind of they want to allow City to come on, but then not leave space in the defense. But then City found space pretty often to score 4 goals and 3 goals from in the first half. Talking about goals score, as mentioned, Foden scored a goal. I think that was a complete mistake by Solanke. He plays a ball across his midfield and defense, a miscued pass straight to Foden, takes a touch, finishes. But the first goal as well I almost felt like they had issues with their left back in my mind, or Zamora's place. Yeah, the right back, which was the left back, which was on Foden's side. I think he had an abysmal night, and Foden kind of played with him a lot. The first goal coming from Alvarez after a ball in from Gundogan to play to Foden, who's running behind Zamora, and takes a touch, deflects, Haaland shoots, hits the post, Alvarez to finish it off. So Alvarez scores that goal, and that's 1-0 already. And then the second half almost, the second goal was almost similar, with Haaland's, Foden again kind of coming in from behind from Zamora, and Haaland just standing in the right position to kind of put it in the net. Third goal, the mistake from Solanke, and that's 3-0, and that's almost game set match. Second half starts, same tempo from City again. It's an own goal from Meffam, but then it's an Alvarez shot in a scrappy ball in the defense, kind of bouncing and deflecting, and Alvarez makes the shot, and Meffam kind of deflects it right in the goal. And then you feel that okay, it's 4-0 up. City is going to make some changes, and that's exactly what Pep Guardiola did. Rodri comes out, Kevin Phillips comes in, Gundogan goes out, Sergio Gomez comes in to get his to start. Then you see that a couple of substitutions made by Bournemouth as well, but then eventually Mahrez comes in for Grealish. Grealish has been one of the key players for City, actually, to be very frank, from the from the right. And you know, he's been very potent for and difficult for players to play at. And then that's kind of the thing, right? He's yeah, his ability to score might be diminished. I'm not going to say that, you know, he's an amazing goal scorer. He's not an amazing goal scorer because he doesn't run directly at the goal anymore, and he's now looking more for, like, he's kind of the player who kind of takes the ball with him and runs with the ball and directly at the defenders to kind of cause problems. And movements across him are so good that, you know, he can find players around that can support him and actually finish goals, scoring goals, and that's what's happening right now with Grealish. Grealish came out for Mahrez, comes in, Haaland then substituted, and Perone, who gets his first debut in a Manchester City shirt, starts for Manchester City against Bournemouth. He's an Argentinian 20-year-old midfielder, if I'm not wrong. Again, like Pep Guardiola, doing what Pep Guardiola does. Late on, there's a surge from Bournemouth, a steaming tide later in the second half, and grabbing a consolation goal where Bournemouth, but they could not be clinical. Yeah, they could not, like, there were chances, I think, in the second half or the end of the second half where Bournemouth could have scored one more, because, like, City was then choppy a little because, you know, the changes that they'd made, and Kyle Walker also then coming for Ake was not able to suit himself immediately in the game, and, you know, it takes time to get into the rhythm. But then the game was already done. City had already kind of finished it 4. But then the goal, a consolation goal, of course, for Lerma to it just gets harder, right? City just keep conceding for fun now, it almost feels to me. Like, I'm like, where is this defensive record gone, for God's sake? I almost feel like Ederson just needs to wait longer and longer for a 100th clean sheet for Manchester City. I don't know when he will get it, or if he will get it. That's the bigger question now in my mind. But then that was it. Match said and done. Manchester City will make the trip to Bristol City on next Tuesday in the FA Cup, and they will host Newcastle next week. Bournemouth is basically going to have the worst start to March. They're going to play Arsenal first and then Liverpool. So they played City, Arsenal, and Liverpool almost less than 10 days, or within a back-to-back. And that's a hard fixture. That's hard fixtures for anybody right now. But then Bournemouth, who right now locked in 19th, and that's not good for them because Everton did win, or did Everton win? Everton lost to Aston Villa, and they had a chance to go above them if they had got something from this game, but then it was next to impossible in my mind. I think Bournemouth never expected. They were just hoping not to lose by a bigger deficit. But that's how it's ended. Bournemouth right now, 24 games played, 21 points, locked in at 19th, fighting the relegation battle. Southampton below them with 18 points after losing to Leeds 1-0. That was an amazing game as well. On the other hand, Manchester City are one game in hand again, with like one game more played to Arsenal. Are now 2 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal won the game as well, their game today against Leicester City. So they keep marching on to kind of keep the lead of the Premier League title. But then that's how it's kind of shaping up. City definitely had a chance to kind of lap up the Premier League. They've not been able to. I'm more curious about how and what's happening with Kevin De Bruyne. Like, is he sick? Is he no? Is he like, what's happening with him? I'm really curious to know and see how this goes. Of course, more games to play and more games to talk about today. I think I'll be possibly doing a match reaction later for the Liverpool game. Do check us out on that one. And do check out our other videos as well. Like, the Formula One season has been kicked out, and I've done a flurry of videos regarding the livery launches. Do give it a like, do give it a share, and do subscribe. And I catch you in the next one.